Dan, it's clear at the start of your book that you're drawing explicitly from themes and motifs from Dante's Inferno. And you yourself studied Dante quite a bit in your academic career. I was curious to know um, what was it, what was it about the contemporary conversation about international ethics that reminded you of this other kind of way into these ethical dilemmas from Dante?
Well, I think that the primary and overarching picture that's timeless, especially anyone who becomes involved on multiple levels, trying to make a living, trying to develop one's own set of skills, trying to do business with contracts in a business environment, and lastly, trying to do it for the government, is one of those timeless questions in literature. You have people who have been thrown into prison for their political ideals, and their great writing happens while they're in prison. In Dante's case, he was, of course, chased out and exiled out of Florence because of his political observations and his political beliefs, and spent the rest of his life in exile as a result of that. And so, to me, the question about an average citizen making their way in for the benefit of trying to provide for their family, trying to find a way to use their skills, and then in some ways happenstancing into the world of a government contract, created to me the perfect modern interpretation of what a man in a hole is going to do, or a man in exile. So Milo's success or failure in the story, his dilemma and his victory in the story, entirely revolves around his place in this institutional and this political environment. And it really hinges, his success hinges on his ability to navigate this, or whether or not he can construct relationships that will eventually redeem him and rescue him. And of course, that's the question, is when you get down and you run out of your own resources, are there guides that will help you out of this dilemma? And that's one of the questions that I explore.
Yeah, I'm glad you just alluded to the Kurt Vonnegut Jr. quote, "There is but only one story, man in whole." And then, of course, with Dante, literally, we have a slow descent downward toward the Inferno. And I found that in your book, the subtlety of the plot line it was always making me think, okay, are we still descending? It was interesting to find that that sometimes when Milo is at his most dangerous, when his life is most in danger, or that he's most ethically perplexed, he's looking upward. And I'm wondering if this finds parallel in Dante.
Yeah, I think that the idea that Dante tried to explore, and of course to play off of the Vonnegut response, hole in medieval language, as you probably know, is hell. And so the idea that a man in a hole, or a man going through hell, is this descent down through and evaluating all the moral implications of all of our motivations. And just when we think that we can understand what drove us to this point, we have to peel back more and more of our motivations and find where we've gone against our own best interests, where it is that we've betrayed others. And so that was, to me, it doesn't make any sense for Milo to get out of his dilemma and be the jerk that he continues to be on some level with his family and his other responsibilities. So part of, to me, the exploration of going down deeper is peeling away our motivations and peeling away those questions about, have I really seen my worst behavior, and have I really seen the worst behavior of others? Or is it possible that someone can come in and pull me out of this mire And that's the question that Dante gets to. And an interesting quality, the deeper that Dante goes, the more he starts getting sold out, the more he starts finding that he's not an observer anymore. He's the culprit. And of course, in that example, in that illustration, I see Milo is also making it worse by his own behaviors. And so, yeah, I like that picture. I think it's a practical picture. It's appropriate to wake up someday and wonder how in the world I ever got in this situation and how I let myself get played. And I think that's a common universal question.